Cleveland Browns are one play away from talking about one of these two kids starting. And the scary thing is, instead of preparing them
on full cylinder, especially when you're rotating a bunch of guys in during training camp and you have a bunch of guys taking reps, it just makes it even a little bit harder.
Right, I mean, figuring out who's going to be number two is going to be a difficult decision. It would have been a much harder decision to figure out which one of those young men would start. And when you look at what the Cleveland Browns are doing, this is why people spin the block in relationships.
You would think the Browns had learned their lesson by now, right? I mean, how many times can one franchise fumble away something priceless before they finally get it? But nope. Once again, Cleveland let go of a spark, a future, a name that could have defined them. This time it wasn't just any player. This time they fumbled Shedeur Sanders, and now he's gone. Not just gone, but glowing up in a way that makes their mistake look even bigger. Because here's the thing. Shedeur didn't sulk. He didn't get on Twitter firing off cryptic Drake lyrics. He didn't sit around feeling sorry for himself. No. 5 minutes after that so-called decision came down, this man was already leveling up. A $14 million deal. Independent, strategic, 100% player-owned. And meanwhile, the Browns front office?
We have a standard for that position, regardless of who's in there. Practice, games, how we operate, what we believe in. We have a very, very high standard.
And if one guy happens to be a little bit off, then the play doesn't work. And I think it always takes a little bit of time to get all 11 guys operating.
Spiraling. Absolutely spiraling. See, this isn't just a story about a quarterback getting cut. No, this is a story about a young star flipping rejection into a business empire and leaving his doubters, choking on the dust of his next chapter. And if you think I'm exaggerating, let's rewind. Because this whole thing started on what should have been a normal Thursday. You've got general managers pacing hallways, coaches rewatching training camp tape, scouts scribbling notes. Then, deep inside Cleveland's facility, someone hits send on a roster move that will haunt this franchise. Shedeur Sanders, released, cut, dropped, brushed off like he was just another camp arm. No warning, no real explanation, just one of those cold, generic roster evaluation statements that teams love to hide behind. And the internet? Whoa, it erupted. Fans went ballistic, memes started flying, NFL Twitter turned into a bonfire. People were stunned, and honestly, rightfully so. Because Shedeur wasn't underperforming. He wasn't a problem in the locker room. The guy was out, there running crisp 2-minute drills, reading defenses like a veteran, commanding the huddle like it was his natural stage. You could feel the silence when he spoke in that huddle, because people respected him. And still, Cleveland let him walk. That's not just a mistake. That's the kind of move that sticks in your history books. But here's the twist.
But I mean, he pushed the boundaries like he did in absolutely everything. No surprise that he did it in that way as well.
And getting them ready to play, and getting them ready to be a guy that's going to back up a 41-year-old quarterback.
The part that turned this from a misstep into a full-blown disaster for the Browns. Instead of waiting by the phone for another team to call, Shedeur flipped the entire playbook. He set up his own press conference. And this wasn't your typical thanks for the opportunity farewell speech. No, this was Shedeur Sanders announcing the birth of a $14 million brand, his own empire, built with himself as the centerpiece. He called it the Locker Room Legacy Project. And this wasn't some surface-level vanity project. No, this was training. Centers, a digital series, youth mentorship pipelines, NIL consulting, sports tech investments, a whole ecosystem.
But if you're the National Football League, okay, clearly it's not about talent anymore. It's about something else.
Everything we've seen, everybody that has seen him play said he is the one or two in this draft. I love Cleveland picking this kid.
Oh, and yeah, he's still playing football, but now it's on his terms. And here's what Cleveland and honestly a lot of teams just don't understand. Shedeur Sanders isn't just a quarterback. He's a movement. He's part of a new generation of athletes who don't just want to play the game, they want to own the game. And when Cleveland handed him that cold "good luck out there" slip, Shedeur turned it into leverage. The Browns thought they were sending a message, something about humbling him, cutting down the attention, protecting culture.
And I'm going to tell you, I spent a large amount of the last 24 hours thinking about nothing more than I was thinking about collusion.
The $50 million robbery of Shedeur Sanders. Because that's what I just witnessed.
Let me decode that for you. It means they didn't like the way Shedeur refused to shrink himself. He didn't sit quiet. He didn't play the passive rookie. He carried swagger, but it was backed by substance. And instead of embracing it, they tried to contain it. Big mistake. Because you can't bench momentum. Now here's where it gets wild. Not even 48 hours after Shedeur dropped that announcement, phones started ringing. Suddenly, NFL coaches were remembering his name. Agents were circling back. ESPN was running highlight reels they forgot to air earlier. Because no one wanted to be the next team to miss out on the quarterback who built a brand, rallied, a fan base, and made the entire league look like it was stuck in the past. That's the new reality. In today's NFL, a quarterback isn't just judged by his arm strength or his 40 time. It's about gravity. Do you pull people in? Do teammates play harder when you're in the huddle? Do fans ride for you even when you're not on the field? Do kids mimic your throw, your walk, your work ethic? That's what matters. And Shedeur checks every single one of those boxes. Think about this. By the time the season even kicks off, Shedeur Sanders might be the most talked about player in the NFL, roster or no roster. That's power. That's cultural momentum. And meanwhile, Cleveland's still trying to explain why they let the future walk out the door like he was just another camp cut. Spoiler, the real reason is fear. They got scared. Scared of his voice, scared of his platform, scared of his power. But here's the thing. That $14 million play, that's just the beginning. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't just survive being cut, he turned it into an origin story. He melted the chip on his shoulder down and wore it as a crown. And now he's not asking for respect. He's demanding it, with presence alone. So, I'll leave you with this. Sometimes getting dropped isn't the end. Sometimes it's the ignition. The Browns thought they were closing the book on Shedeur Sanders. Instead, they lit the first chapter of a story that's going to outlast their excuses. And I gotta ask you, was this Cleveland's biggest blunder since passing on Patrick Mahomes? Or did they just hand the NFL its next cultural icon on a silver platter? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you're subscribed, because trust me, this saga isn't slowing down. Shedeur Sanders isn't done. He's just getting started. Let's back up. Shedeur Sanders, Colorado Buffalo's quarterback, son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, was widely projected as a top 10 pick. But when draft night came, the unthinkable happened. He didn't hear his name called until pick 144 in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. 5 rounds, 143 picks, every single one passed on him. And that's when the questions exploded. Inside the Sanders camp, quiet whispers quickly became loud speculation. Legal action was reportedly being considered against the NFL and several team owners. Accusations of collusion, defamation, and financial harm. And when you look at the story, it's tangled. There's history with the NFL protecting the shield. There's the Sanders family's history, there's quarterback politics, and all of it converged on this one brutal weekend. Yes, some argued Shedeur may have been a fringe first-round pick. And yes, some owners might have wanted to humble him. Maybe some miscalculations were made. But 4 rounds? That's unprecedented. We've seen injuries, off-field issues, character concerns, but never a universally top 3 quarterback fall this far. It's staggering, and let's be clear, this is not Colin Kaepernick. This isn't about blackballing for activism. Shedeur wasn't banned. He was humiliated for 48 hours and then drafted by a team where he could still rise. The Browns' quarterback, Room? Messy. Plenty of opportunity for Shedeur to fight his way to the top. His career isn't over, it's just starting under insane pressure. Shedeur led the NCAA in completion percentage at an insane 74.1%, shattered school records, and dominated headlines for months. Early projections had him as a second-round pick, at worst. But draft day? Silence. Champagne untouched, cameras cutting away. Deion Sanders, furious, allegedly said, "This league just blackballed my son." And you can't blame him. Look at the tape. How does a kid like Shedeur, rated top 3 in the country, slide past 32 teams? 4 rounds in a row? Impossible, right? Now here's where it gets messy. At the Combine, teams set traps, mistakes planted to test quarterbacks. Shedeur didn't play their game. When called out, he pushed back. "Maybe I'm not the guy for you," he said. Some see it as arrogance. I see it as confidence, and it cost him. Combine that with limited teams needing QBs. Giants weren't interested. Pittsburgh had Rodgers, Tennessee had Ward, and suddenly you're down to Cleveland, which traded out of the Tupper 2 pick for next year's class. Then the behind-the-scenes whispers. NFL insiders allegedly warning each other about media frenzy and branding baggage. Teams quietly told each other to steer clear unless absolutely necessary. Some of it tied back to Deion Sanders' blunt interviews. Shedeur was being punished for his father's presence, not his talent. And the NFL? A wall of silence. A perfect storm of politics, optics, and bruised egos. Pick 144 comes. Cleveland takes him. $50 million left on the table. And the bigger question, how did they know he'd still be there? Cameras, signals, insider whispers. I've been on that stage for years, and I've never seen anything like it. This wasn't about football, this was control. Then came the New York Giants drama, leaked interviews, half-truths, edited tapes. Shedeur didn't impress. Fans erupted. Social media lit up. Giants PR tried to bury him, but instead they made him explode. Every clip made him hotter. Every negative leak just built the hype. He became the story. Controversy in cleats, the underdog the NFL tried to sideline, and here's the kicker. While critics debated intangibles and hype, Shedeur Sanders was quietly proving them wrong on the field. 4th string at first, now he's ZD, running with the second team, moving up the depth chart like a man possessed. Coaches are stunned. Players can't stop talking about his aura, his throws, the way he commands the huddle. Denzel Ward says it best. He looks different from the rest. That's high praise coming from someone living in the trenches with him. Let me tell you this, he's not just surviving, he's dominating. Minicamp, destroyed. Practice reps, on point. Decision-making, razor sharp. He's earned every nod, every rep, every look from coaches who are now realizing they misjudged him. 5th-round pick? Doesn't matter. Draft projections mean nothing when the whistle blows and the ball is in your hands. And for those still doubting, take a look at the climb from practice squad afterthought to serious starter contender. Every completion is a statement. Every throw is a reminder. Real talent doesn't fold under pressure. He's the story the NFL tried to bury, and now he's the one controlling the narrative. Shedeur Sanders is more than a quarterback. He's resilience in motion, a symbol that talent, heart, and determination can flip the script, no matter who's trying to write it for you. And the Giants, the NFL, every move to hold him down has only pushed him higher. So yeah, watch closely. The Cleveland Browns may have stumbled upon a hidden gem, and the rest of the league, they're realizing they can't ignore this kid any longer. The hype is real, the story is epic, and Shedeur Sanders isn't just playing football, he's rewriting the rules.